waiting to winning these ball games. They have not been blown out, I don't think, in one game this whole season. They're in it to win the ball game, especially in the fourth quarter. They're doing everything they can up until a certain point, and there's just been these windows of opportunity that closes for the Wizards. And I'm going to start with Russ, and I'm going to start with Bradley Beal. They're going to have to figure out something, a lineup or something to do to come up with ball games they can actually win and come out winning.
All right, with that, it's time for the crossover as we welcome in some of the guys from the post-game show. Actually, well, most of them. Wes and Jimmy. Guys, we saw what happened here. The Wizards were in this for really 3 quarters. The fourth quarter, it was all San Antonio. Jimmy, I'm going to start with you. That fourth quarter, what do you think went wrong? Was it just the fatigue setting in for this team? And how do you kind of bounce back for that game on Tuesday?
I'm going to jump on what Drew said. First of all, no one's feeling sorry for you. A lot of little things. Put your hand up on the catch every time. The Spurs are not a great three-point shooting team, and I mentioned if they shoot the ball well from 3, they win. And a lot has to do with defense. But I want to build on what Drew's saying. Like, this is a chance to get better. You have a chance to prove yourself. Jerome Robinson did that today. Isak Bonga, not so much. Now he'll have another game. I thought Lopez and Alex Len were fine in the middle. Cassius Winston did some good things, but I'm just going to build on what Drew says. Like, you got to impress Coach Brooks, but you got to take advantage of your opportunity. And Robinson did. Beal did his part. You know, Westbrook looked a little rusty, but a veteran bench beats you. Rudy Gay and Patty Mills was the difference in the game today. And those guys have to learn, hey, this is Rudy Gay, Patty Mills coming off the bench. You know, Devin Vassal's a lottery pick coming off the bench. They're taking advantage of their fourth quarter minutes. And I'm just really, and I'm not just saying this because Drew's my friend, but he knows this is how it works. You have to take advantage. You got to fight through the little mistakes, but then you got to really compete for the whole 48 minutes.
Jimmy, Drew, you know as good as well as I do is that this game was tough because they're coming off of not doing anything. They're sitting on the couch. They can't get in for practices. They can't get in for individual workouts. Drew, you said their legs were going to be fresh. They were fresh for like the first 6 minutes in the first quarter. Once that adrenaline wore off, it was kind of downhill from there. You could see how exhausted Brad was. Brad still did his job. He went out there and got 31 points. Jerome Robinson stepped up his game. Alex Len, he came out and he played very, very well off the bench, getting big minutes, especially being signed to the team just recently. So I think that for the most part, it was just a matter of attrition. They didn't have the legs tonight just for sheer fact that they couldn't practice. They couldn't get that game shape and that conditioning. So it was a tough one tonight for the Wizards.
Guys, for me, looking at the team, I mean, yes, there was fatigue because of the time taken off, away from the games, but for me, it just looked like a lack of familiarity with the players because they haven't had any time to work together in practice as a unit. And so there were moments, especially in the second half, where you saw inerrant passes happening, guys not being where they're quote-unquote supposed to be. And that just comes from guys not playing and not practicing together. So for me, looking at the way that this roster's been built in the last 48 hours, I'm glad at what we saw. Like, there's a lot of positives that can come out of this game. Obviously, you want to get out with a win. But looking at the roster and how it's comprised now, there's obviously some good things that we can see coming from that. I mean, Drew, do you agree or disagree?
Well, real quick, I just want to jump in real quick. And I want to ask Drew and Jason this. You talk about the legs, conditioning, game conditioning. How many games does it take when you've had this many days off to kind of get back up to speed?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to use any excuses because guess what? When they are in shape, when they have had days to practice, it's the same story. I mean, how many other directions we're going to have to point at? And like I said, nobody feels sorry for you. The Wizards are going to collectively have to figure things out, especially in the fourth quarter. They've been in all the games. So I'm going to leave it at that.
I think it's just look at what Davis Bertans had to go through, getting his contract a little bit later, going through visa issues. It takes a little while to get your legs underneath you, and then you like a little bit of a break, maybe 1 day, 2 day to recover, but 13 days? That's tough to come back from. It's going to take a couple games for them to get back in their Wizards ways.
Well, let's hope they get back quickly because they turn around and they play Houston and John Wall on Tuesday. You know John will be up for that game. I'm sure Brad will be up for that game. Wes, it should be fun, but I know you guys have a lot to talk about with this.
As a talking bucket of KFC, dinner time is my time to shine. Grab some piping hot chicken, young man.